Do you want to know what's happening around the world of sports? Look no further than The Bench with your host, Blaine Owl.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas and Happy New Year break. Speaking of the new year, we welcome 2020 with big arms. This is the year this show goes off as we expand with new ideas, getting better, faster, and brighter. While over break, we had a great action-packed 2 weeks of sports. My personal favorite part of the year, bowl season, Christmas basketball hoops, and of course, college basketball. We start off talking about some of the most important bowl games and how the conference ended their seasons. In the American Athletic Conference, they went 4-3 this year in their bowl record games, with UC getting the big win 38-6 over Boston College. The ACC had a 4-6 overall record. Obviously, Clemson got the big win over Ohio State 29-23 as they play for the national championship. The Big Ten struggled this year, going 4-5, having an off year when they typically dominate bowl season as they did last year, going 8-1. But this year's big win was Penn State outlasting Memphis in a shootout 53-39. The Big 12 had a terrible bowl season, no other way to put it, at 1-5, and obviously the only big win was from Texas with a 38-10 win over the Utah. The MAC went 3-4 with Ohio University getting the big win 30-21 over Nevada. The Pac-12 had a winning bowl record, going 4-3, Oregon shocking me personally, beating the Badgers, and nothing less than a classic Rose Bowl, 28-27. Now we're going to go back and dig into some of those bigger names, a lot more specific details, specific plays even, all the way from the beginning to end. Obviously, being an Ohio State fan, first we're going to go ahead and talk about that PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. Clemson pulled out the victory 29-23. A couple things I took from that game. We'll start with the Clemson. Trevor Lawrence is as legit as people said. The Clemson Tigers are a very coached football team. They made great second half adjustments. Dabo Swinney, man, whatever he said in the locker room, got the Tigers fired up. They came out and played better than Ohio State in the second half. Obviously, as an Ohio State fan, I can plead there was the refs, all this, all that. The refs did have, a couple calls that I think could have went Ohio State's way, but I'm not going to sit here and blame that game on the refs. When you go down in the red zone 3 out of 4 times and you get field goals, you're not going to win games at any level of sports, college, NFL. It was unfortunate to see Ohio State lose that game because I feel that we completely outcoached, Ryan Day specifically outcoached Brett Venables and that Tiger defense in the first half. Even really all game, just some of those big plays that didn't go Ohio State's way. Obviously the targeting call, I think that's just a broken rule in college overall, not just, saying that as an Ohio State fan. I think that rule needs to be changed immediately. And obviously the catch, whether you believe it was a catch or a fumble, that's your opinion. But that changed the game, the tide of the game. But as you can say, Ohio State, kicking field goals is just not going to win you games, and that showed. Clemson, they're going to play in the national championship for the second year in a row. We're going to see. I don't think they personally can beat LSU, but we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. The next playoff semifinal game was LSU versus Oklahoma in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. LSU with a dominating victory, 63-28. Joe Burrow, 7 touchdowns. The Heisman, obviously, he was just fantastic. I've never seen anything like it. Oklahoma's defense was just running around like a chicken with their head cut off. They didn't know what hit them from the very first series that Joe Burrow just drove the Tigers down the field, scoring a touchdown. Jalen Hurts had too much pressure all game. He couldn't step up. He was scrambling for his life, could not make the plays that he wanted to with his feet. The LSU defense was rallying. They were tackling. One specific play that I remember is I saw Joe Burrow, had 10 seconds in the pocket and then got chased running to the sideline, chucked it as he was barely in. And, one of those receivers, excellent receivers for LSU, maybe Jamar Chase, I think, who went up and grabbed that one. They just have some fantastic receivers. And really, it's an NFL offense playing in college at this point with the talent that they have. They're going to take on the other Tigers and the Clemson Tigers. Obviously, like we said, coming to the national championship. But, Oklahoma, they had a great season nonetheless. They just went up against the best team that I've seen in a long time. Jalen Hurts had a great season, came in with Lincoln Riley, did miracle work, really. No one really expected them to be there. They were a high contender. So, the Sooners, nothing to hang your head about. I'm sure they'll be back. Lincoln Riley is one of the better coaches in college football. On to my favorite game in bowl season, no matter who's playing in it, the Rose Bowl, Pasadena. What is better? Beautiful scene, beautiful weather, two great teams. That Pac-12 Big Ten clash seems to be going on, almost every year. Wisconsin versus Oregon. Going in to the game, I was like, who am I taking? And I decided to go with Wisconsin. And as more towards the week went on, I was like, I think Wisconsin can win this one big. Coming off that loss to Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, they were looking for some fire. I knew they have a great coach, powered by that offensive line, and obviously Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. But as the game went on, I was watching Wisconsin's offense, and I was thinking, how are they going to win this game? Jonathan Taylor was struggling, and it seemed like every pass was a simple 5-yard out route to Quintez Cephas, who was, their best receiver. They weren't striking Oregon down the field, and I think that hurt them in the first half because they started to open it up in the second half, and, they scored more points, but scoring 0 in the fourth quarter. Oregon, obviously, the blocked punt changed the game, changed the atmosphere, changed everything. Justin Herbert, I think he scored 2 or 3 times. I'm not for sure on that. 3 times, as AJ said, walking in untouched was a huge factor in that game with his legs. Both teams, though, had excellent seasons. Wisconsin's always going to be in the talk. Oregon's always going to be in the talk. I am interested to see how Oregon, what they do next year. Herbert, I believe, is gone. I could be wrong, though. He might return, might not, but, it would probably be in his best decision to declare for the NFL draft. Next, we head to the Camping World Bowl, where Notre Dame took down Iowa State 33-9. Being a Notre Dame fan also, I was watching the announcers pregame, like they always do, and there was like 3 or 4 people that picked Iowa State to win this game, and it kind of shocked me. I was like, man, am I second judging myself? I don't know if Notre Dame is that good or if Iowa State is just that good. But obviously going through the game, I was getting the feel even in the first quarter. I was like, I think Notre Dame's going to pull this one off. They just had more speed and athleticism than Iowa State, and they were just getting to the quarterback more, causing havoc in the backfield. Obviously, they had to settle for 3 field goals, which is extremely good if you're a defense. So Notre Dame is in good shape next year. That's a good way to end the season. I know that they had a disappointing season, not being in the college football playoffs, but look for them to bounce back. As we head to the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, Penn State versus Memphis, with Penn State pulling over the victory 53-39. First of all, I just want to say, congratulations. I talked about him early in the year to offensive coordinator at Memphis, Kevin Johns, Piqua grad, UD grad. Great season. The Tigers from Memphis, they held their own in all those big teams that they had to play, defeating UC twice, and then hanging with Memphis for as long as I could, really watch the game. It was really, really close, 3 points, 7 points. They just kept battling. But in the end, the Penn State Nittany Lions, James Franklin, got his team rolling, and they just they had more ability, athletic ability, more speed than the Memphis Tigers. And the Memphis Tigers defense all year struggled defensively, and they just could not, their offense could not sustain, putting up 50-something points with that Penn State offense. Penn State had a really good year. Obviously, they beat Michigan, lost to Ohio State, ended the good year winning the bowl game. They have a lot of young talent. They should be really good next year, as well as Memphis. They should, be right up in there for contention again, as really nobody saw them coming this year, but man, were they electric and fun to watch. We're going to just throw in the national championship game real quick, just some predictions real quick. Obviously, Tigers versus Tigers, so if you pick a Tiger, you're going to win, but I'm going to go with LSU, Joe Burrow. What I saw, that decimation against Oklahoma was just, I can't even describe it. Clemson, really good. Definitely do not count them out. Dabo, Lawrence, Mike Brennavels in the defense is going to be ready. Going to be a great game. January 13th, Monday night. Let me know who you guys got. LSU, Clemson. We head to another classic, Christmas Day basketball. The Celtics knocked off the Raptors 118-102, defeating the last year's world champion. The Warriors get a shocking win over the Rockets 116-104. Still struggling on the season, but a big win there. The 76ers beat the Bucks 121-109 as Giannis Antetokounmpo was shut down badly by Joel Embiid. And the Clippers squeak out a victory against LeBron and the Lakers 111-106. Finally, the Pelicans beat the Nuggets 112-100. NFL playoffs. The first round of playoff game and wild cards were played this Saturday and Sunday with some great games that did not disappoint. The Texans come all the way back from 16-0 to get the win, 22-19, as Deshaun Watson had a heck of a game. I remember one specific play, that spin move. He gets out, makes a throw. The Texans are back. Look for the Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins. They're looking to connect after a struggling game against the Bills. Watch out for them. The Titans shock everybody, taking down Brady and the Pats 20-13, ending Brady and Belichick's season. I don't know if it was as shocking as people thought looking into the statistics of the game. That Patriots offense was not the same the second half of the season. Brady is getting older. Nobody knows what he's going to do. We all saw the interview, I assume. He said, he doesn't know what the future holds, so we're going to have to wait out and see. But look for the Titans. Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill are really getting that Titans team on the move. The Seahawks outlast the Eagles 17-9 as the Eagles were forced to play with a backup quarterback as quarterback Carson Wentz took a knock to the head in the first quarter and was ruled out with an early concussion. Really upset for this one. Drew Brees is probably my favorite quarterback in the NFL. And obviously, they were defeated by the Vikings 26-20 in an overtime victory in the Superdome. I never heard it so quiet. But man, that one really stunk to watch as I was rooting for the Saints. And then real quick on who I think is going to win the Super Bowl, or who I want to win the Super Bowl. I think it's going to boil down to Niners, Ravens. Who we got? I'm going with the Niners. No one expected them to be there. Jimmy G backed up Brady for so long. I think it's his time to shine. You got Nick Bosa there on the defensive line. And we're going to see if the Niners can pull it out, as they had a heck of a regular season. Since we left for break, the AP Top 25 and even the Top 10 for basketball has literally changed every single spot. So where it was before break is not where it was after break. Teams are just, falling off, and teams are rising. As I was looking at this Top 10, I don't even really notice some of these schools for being basketball schools, but they're right up in there in the Top 10. So here we go, our Top 10 for men's basketball. At number 1, we have Gonzaga with a 16-1 record this year. Followed by number 2, the Duke Blue Devils find themselves right back up in there at 13-1. And then at number 3 is the Kansas Jayhawks at 11-2. Followed by Baylor Bears at number 4 at 11-1. At 5, we have Auburn 13-0 on the season without a loss. At number 6, we have Butler with a 14-1 record, always usually a good basketball program. At number 7, this is where I was kind of shocked, San Diego State, 15-0 record, sitting at number 7 right now. Michigan State finds themselves back in the top 10 after a couple early losses at 12-3. Oregon sits at 9 at 12-3, also right behind Michigan State. And rounding out our top 10 is Florida State at 13-2. And then I have Ohio State in there at number 11, 13-4 now. A disappointing loss against Maryland last night. They will be dropping back as the basketball team for the Buckeyes. has, kind of woken up a little bit and realized it's not going to be as easy a season as they thought. And then real quick, to run out this episode of The Bench, I talk about the playoff rules in the NFL, going back to that Saints-Vikings game. Something has to change there. First to get the ball, you drive down, you score, it's over. Nobody gets a chance, it's done. There, done deal. If you get a field goal, then the other team has an opportunity. But I feel like in college, it should be somewhat similar, more similar to college. I think the other team should get a chance, and then after that, it goes down to, maybe I saw something online where it's like, it comes down to the kickers, who can make more field goals and blah, blah, blah. And then it comes down, if it goes all the way to 2-point conversions, so on. I just think that, the NFL, teams are too good to not score on that first possession, especially if you get the ball first. I think the other team should have a chance and, really see if that team's, how good they really are, if they can score and hold. And then obviously they deserve to win the game. But I thought if Drew Brees had that ball, after the Vikings scored, there would be no way the Vikings walked away out of that one, as Brees was going to drive down and get a score. But that's not how it works. The Vikings pulled off the win. Brees, we don't know what he's going to do. He's getting old. He might retire, might not. But the Saints, very well-rounded team, played hard. But the Vikings shocked everybody. Let's just say that. Kirk Cousins finally wins that big game that I've been wanting to see him win since he started in the NFL. Got that one, and they're on to the second round of the playoffs. And we're going to have to see what happens in the NFL. It's going to be a crazy one. But I'm excited to see, who's going to come out on top. With that being said, this has been episode 17 of The Bench. I look forward to seeing you guys on Friday as we take on the Troy Trojans. And before we close out, I wanted to big shout out to our girls basketball team who takes on Troy tonight at Troy. They're at like an 8-3 record this year, 5 in a row. They're hot. And our boys team winning 4 in a row, defeating Fairborn last night, 82-71. Good work, boys, 4 in a row. Let's carry that into Friday as we take on Troy. The girls play at Troy tonight, get their support. The boys are at home on Friday. With that being said, I am Blaine Ool. This has been The Bench. I look forward to seeing you on Friday.